Welcome to the Evo India YouTube channel and welcome to News of the Week. This has been quite a busy one, so let's get right into it. Kicking things off is the Hyundai Exter. Now the Exter is Hyundai's approach to a micro SUV and its obvious rival is the Tata Punch. You get a 1.2 litre petrol engine on this and you can either have it with a manual transmission, a 5-speed manual transmission or an AMT transmission. Prices for this car start at Rs 5.99 lakh ex-showroom and they go all the way up to Rs 10 lakh depending on which variant and spec you get. Now, coming back to that engine, it is good for 81.8 bhp of power and 113.8 Newton meters of torque. Now, you also get this with a CNG variant, so that is mated only to the 5-speed manual. And if you're driving in CNG mode, the power figures drop slightly, so you're getting 68 bhp and 95.2 Newton meters of torque. Claimed mileage figures for the Exter is 19.4 kilometers to the liter in the manual transmission option and 19.2 for the AMT transmission. One interesting thing to note with the AMT is that you get paddle shifters as standard on the steering wheel. That should help make the drive a little more engaging. Now, like I said, this is a micro SUV and this does get styling along those lines. We quite like how it looks, but why don't you tell me what you think about its styling in the comment section down below. Now, to aid that SUV styling, you get things like skid plates at the front and rear, a lot of cladding around the side, and 15-inch wheels. Now, in recent times, there's a lot of importance on safety, and to that end, you get 26 standard features across all variants. These features include 6 airbags, ESC, hill assist control, 3-point seat belts, ABS and rear parking sensors, and a few others. As you start going up the rungs of the variant list, you also get features like keyless entry, TPMS, automatic headlamps, and ISOFIX mounts. Stepping inside, you have a steering wheel that has a semi-leather finish and it offers controls for call, music and media and also cruise control, which is right on the steering wheel. That should make things easy. Now, like all modern cars, you also get connected features enabled by Hyundai's BlueLink, and that you can use your phone to control a various set of parameters like unlocking your door, horn and light controls, tire pressure info, fuel level info. All of that you can get on your phone. You can also track your vehicle using that. Now, like always, you have English and Hindi voice commands, but with the Exter, Hyundai has also added support for 10 regional languages and around 92 embedded voice controls. In terms of practicality, you have a healthy 391 liters of boot space, and you can get this car in 6 monotone colors or 3 dual tone color options. Now, we've driven this car. Sirish and Anand headed to Jaipur to get their first taste of the Exter, and their first drive review will be up on the Evo India YouTube channel and website on July 17th. Next up is the Mercedes-Benz CLA Coupe. This was revealed last week and it shares its tech and underpinnings with the new C-Class and the E-Class. There is also a cabriolet version, but that will be coming sometime next year. Now, you have 4 and 6-cylinder engine options, petrol or diesel, all with mild hybrids. The most powerful engine of the lot is the 3-litre straight 6, which gets 375 bhp and 500 Newton meters of torque. The seating layout is a 2+2 layout. You have a 12.3-inch instrument cluster, and in new Mercedes fashion, you have the vertically mounted 11.9-inch portrait infotainment touchscreen system. Badge engineering has been the talk of the town lately, what with the new launch of the Maruti Suzuki Invicto. Now, the Invicto is basically the Innova Hycross wearing a Maruti Suzuki badge, and along those lines, we're going to be seeing a new Toyota launching in our shores by around September. This is going to be based on the Ertiga MPV. It's going to be called the Rumion, that's what the sources tell us. The Rumion is already on sale in South Africa, and like I said, we should see it in India sometime September. What do you think about badge engineering? Do let us know in the comment section down below. Continuing with the topics of Maruti, there is a new Maruti Suzuki Fronx that gets the CNG option, launched at Rs 8.42 lakhs for the Sigma variant and Rs 9.28 lakh for the Delta variant. It is only available with the 1.2 litre petrol engine, and the claimed fuel efficiency is 28.1 kilometers per kg of CNG. Power figures stand at 76.4 bhp and 98.5 Newton meters of torque, and you can get this with a 5-speed manual transmission. Continuing with the MPV conversation, news has hit that MPVs are going to become slightly more expensive. Now, the GST Council, they have announced an increase in the CESS on all MPVs, taking the CESS rate from 20 to 22%. What this means is a marginal increase in prices of these MPVs, and they will be charged in the same bracket, the same GST and CESS bracket as SUVs now. What do you think about this? Do let us know. There's also a new variant of the MG ZS EV. It's called the Exclusive Pro variant and it sits right above the Exclusive variant. It costs Rs 27.9 lakh ex-showroom. What it gets is ADAS level 2 functions, features that include traffic jam assist, forward collision warning, a speed assist system, lane keep assist, adaptive cruise control, and the ADAS system, it operates on 3 levels of sensitivity: low, medium, high. This allows users to customize how much and when they want the system to intervene. And it also has 3 levels of warnings that will warn you on a haptic level, and an audio level, and a visual level. Now, the premium that you need to pay over the exclusive variant for the exclusive Pro variant is around rupees 59,000. Right, now let's get on to the performance side of things, and kicking things off is the new Koenigsegg Gamera. Gamera, how's it pronounced? Let me know in the comment section down below. Now, basically the specs of this car will boggle your mind. You get a hybrid V8 motor. Now, Koenigsegg calls this a hot V8. This powertrain setup, the V8 and the dark matter electric motor, in tandem produce 2,268 bhp and 2,750 Newton meters of torque. Let those numbers sink in for a second. Now, with these numbers, the Gamera just became the most powerful production car in the world right now. Now, like I said, you have a 5-liter V8, which is borrowed from the Jesco. And the talking point about this V8 is that the exhaust, it sits right above the engine. And you have that new electric motor. Now, this electric motor is also very light. Around 38 kilos is what Koenigsegg is saying. Now, the entire car, it weighs just under 2 tons. So, with over 2,200 bhp and weight of just under 2 tons, you can imagine what the power to weight ratio would be like. And the best part is, this is a proper 4-seater. So, if you get this, your family adventures are going to be quite interesting. Now, next up on the performance car list is the Batista Edizione Nino Farina. As the name suggests, this car, it pays homage to the world's first F1 champion, Nino Farina. Now, Nino Farina was also the nephew of Pininfarina's founder, Batista Pininfarina. It's limited to 5 units, and it is based on the new Batista electric hypercar and comes with a special paint scheme with Nino Farina decals. Now, the Edizione Nino Farina, it runs on the same powertrain that you find on the Batista, which comprises of 4 e-motors, and it produces 1,874 bhp and 2,340 Newton meters of torque. Man, the power figures are getting really crazy, aren't they? In a world where manufacturers are going electric, Aston Martin has decided to launch a manual transmission internal combustion engine sports car. Say hello to the Aston Martin Valor, and it is powered by a 5.2-litre twin-turbo V8 which puts out 705 bhp of power and 753 Newton meters of torque. Like I said, you get a manual transmission, a 6-speed manual transmission, and only a lucky 110 people will get to own this car. Standard kit on this car include carbon ceramic brakes, and Aston Martin says that this car is a celebration of the brand's passion for driving and is inspired by the Aston Martin cars from the 70s and 80s. Do you see the resemblance with that styling? Do let me know. Next up is the Ferrari KC23. This was officially unveiled at the Goodwood Festival of Speed, and it is a one-off model that is based on the 488 GT3 Evo. Now, this is a track-only model, and it features a bunch of things like active aerodynamics that are hidden when the car is at standstill, and it's a thoroughbred race car. So even if when you get inside, it has a proper steering wheel, there are a lot of buttons and dials, you have a roll cage, and the works. Now, we don't know exactly how much this car makes in terms of power and torque, but we can assume that it will be somewhere around 590 bhp. That's what the race car makes, and it could be higher if it doesn't get the racing restrictors. Another car that was unveiled at the Goodwood Festival of Speed is the Ionic 5N from Hyundai. Now, like the N suggests, this gets proper N styling, and it not only gets styling tweaks, but it also gets some serious performance upgrades. On the styling front, it gets a lot more aggressive looking, and I quite like the way it looks. I already loved the way the Ionic 5 looked, and this just takes it to a whole new ballgame. In terms of performance, you have a 2 e-motor setup that gives it all-wheel drive. Performance figures stand at 641 bhp and 770 Newton meters of torque in overboost mode, and 0 to 100 comes in a claimed 3.4 seconds with a top speed of 260 kilometers per hour. Now, there is this thing called N battery preconditioning, which allows you to either heat up the battery if you want to do a really fast stint, or you can also keep the temperatures in check if you want to do something along the lines of an endurance run. Now, all of these different power modes can be controlled via the different modes that are there in the car. You have regen that can produce up to 0.6 G under braking, torque distribution which is variable at the front and the rear. So Hyundai has done a very interesting thing with the powertrain. It doesn't really have a proper physical transmission as such, but the way the power is delivered, it can replicate the shifts of an 8-speed DCT. So that's slight interruption in power. So that would be quite interesting to experience in person. Now, in typical N fashion, this of course is an electric car. You don't have an exhaust, but there is something called N Active Sound Plus, where you essentially get an internal combustion exhaust sound that plays via external speakers. And again, continuing with the end treatment, you have a much stiffer chassis setup. You now have upsized 21-inch wheels, which were 275 sections specifically developed Pirelli P0 tires. You get better brakes, the works. So essentially, this is something we can hope to see Hyundai go to rallies with. Now, continuing with launches, you have the BMW X5, which by the time you're seeing this video would have launched in India. So the prices for which will be on the screen. There is the X540i and the X530D, so a petrol and a diesel transmission. The new X5, it gets a redesigned bumper. The headlamps are slimmer and they get redesigned DRLs as well. Not much has changed in the rear, although the tail lamps, they get new LED units. Now, there is an illuminated kidney grille that is similar to the one that is on the i7, but that will be available only for the X540i variant. Both variants will be riding on 21-inch alloy wheels, and on the inside you have BMW's latest curved screen setup, so a 12.3-inch driver's display and a 14.9-inch infotainment system. The drive selector on the center console, that's also been redesigned. It's not your traditional lever, it's now a selector toggle switch. Now, talking about the engines, both are inline-6 engines. The 3-liter diesel unit on the X530D makes 282 bhp and 615 Nm of torque. Whereas the petrol engine on the X540i, it makes 376 bhp and 520 Nm of torque. Now, both these engines, they will be assisted by a mild hybrid system with a 48-volt battery and a small electric motor that will be mounted on the gearbox. The boost in power courtesy of this electric motor will be around 11.8 bhp and 200 Nm of torque. Now, this SUV, it'll get an 8-speed automatic gearbox and BMW's xDrive 4-wheel drive system as standard. Sadly, however, there's no plans for India getting the V8 that makes 523 bhp and 750 Nm of torque, or the plug-in hybrid that makes a combined 482 bhp and 700 Nm. What do you think of the X5? Let us know. Now, moving on to things on two wheels, Triumph has unveiled a bunch of new colors for their 2024 range, which include the Rocket 3 R and the GT, which now get a sapphire black and carnival red with silver ice color scheme. The Speed 1200 RS gets a new carnival red color scheme. The Tiger 850 Sport gets a graphite and jet black color scheme. The Tiger Sport 660 gets a new Snowdonia white and jet black, or a jet black and graphite color scheme. And the Trident 660, it gets a new jet black and Triumph Racing yellow color scheme. All of these will be on your screen, so you know what I'm talking about. And there's that. Talking about Triumph, by the time you're seeing this, our review for the Triumph Speed 400 will be live. So go check it out and you'll get to know exactly what I think about this bike and whether or not you should be getting one. Alright, so now for the past few weeks, Honda has been teasing a new two-wheeler and they've finally taken the wraps off of what it is. It is a new Honda Dio 125. Yes, the Dio finally graduates to the 125cc class. There are two variants, the Standard and the Smart. Standard costs rupees 83,400 and the Smart costs rupees 91,300. You get an updated design, you get a new dual tip exhaust and a bunch of new color schemes as well. Now, the difference between the Standard and the Smart is that the Standard, it doesn't get a disc brake at the front. It gets the same digital meter, it gets LED lighting, your idling start-stop system, side stand cutoff and all of that stuff. But the Smart variant, it gets a few things above that. You get a disc brake at the front, you get a keyless system, so you don't really need to connect the key, it's wireless in that sense, and you also get a few more security functions as well. Which one are you choosing? Let us know in the comment section down below. Now, in terms of the powertrain, we don't really know which, but we can assume that it's the same mill from the Activa, so that should give it around 8.14 bhp of power and 10.3 Newton meters of torque. That's been all for the news this week. Not many things happening on the bikes front. Lot of exciting new cars, lot of performance cars. What excited you the most? Let us know in the comment section down below. And come back next week for all the latest news that happens going forward from today.